Hey everyone, Eric here. In this video, we're checking out the Traveler from Matthews Effects. The Traveler from Matthews Effects is a multi-mode reverb pedal. It's got a straightforward interface, 3 modes of reverb, and it's an incredibly versatile pedal because it's got onboard presets, it's got MIDI capability. All that to say, this pedal is very powerful in just a small, compact footprint. Before we get into the controls, let's go over the signal chain a little bit. Right here, I'm using this Pure Salem El Brujo with P90s. We're going into the Harby pedals Noble Tone, which is gonna give us a tiny bit of drive or a little bit of boost. It's not really gonna color the sound too much. Then we're going into the Traveler, and then we're going out to the Boss Katana set completely clean like this. We have 3 controls up here on the top: mix, M, and feedback. Mix is going to control our wet-dry blend, so as we turn this down, we're going to get less reverb introduced into our signal. So if I go ahead and turn the pedal on right now, we're not gonna get any reverb because we have the mix all the way down. As I turn the mix up, we're gonna get more and more and more reverb. Now we're jumping over to the right side of the pedal with the feedback control. This is how big or how small our reverb sounds. So if we turn it down, we're going to get a smaller sounding reverb. And as we turn that feedback control up, we're going to get a larger and larger reverb. Now we're going to backtrack to the M control in the middle of the pedal, and what this does is it controls a different parameter depending on which mode you're in. So let's go ahead and talk about the toggle switch, which is the mode toggle switch. We can choose from 3 different types of reverb with this toggle switch. In the middle, what we've been hearing is the shimmer mode. On the left is a mod mode, which is a modulated reverb. And now in this modulated reverb mode, the M control in the middle of the pedal lets us dial in more or less modulation. With the control all the way down, we get less modulation, and as we turn it up, we're gonna get more and more modulation. The mix control in the mod reverb mode is a pretty unique control. It kind of changes what it's all about. It's still a blend of wet and dry, but it really sets in the reverb very quickly. So if we turn it down, of course, we're not gonna get any reverb at all. But then even at like, what is that, 25%, we're getting a lot of reverb in our signal. And from here, we can increase it, and what happens is at a certain point, it kind of changes your guitar from sounding like a guitar to sounding more of like a synth pad or kind of like a faux string section. So let's go ahead and hear how that sounds. So you can hear in this setting we have the mix all the way up, which means we're only getting wet signal, and that kind of gives our notes a softer attack, so we don't get that immediate transient. But now what's really cool is to increase the feedback, so you're just gonna get more reverb and more reverb. And that is mod mode. Let's go ahead and move on to shimmer, which is the middle position. You can also see that the LED changes colors to indicate which mode you're in. We have red for mod, blue for shimmer, and then green for vintage. So in the shimmer mode, what the M controls is the amount of shimmer. If we have the knob all the way down like it is right now, we don't get any shimmer at all. As we turn that M control up in the shimmer mode, we're introducing more and more shimmer, which is that kind of like higher end octave that kind of flows in as you play. Now let's go ahead and hop over to the vintage mode. Again, green LED to indicate that we are in the vintage mode. In this mode, what we get is a spring-inspired reverb. Something similar to the Fender type spring reverb sound, so brighter, lively. Let's go ahead and hear how that sounds with the feedback at like 60% and the mix at 50%. Now let's go ahead and max out that feedback control to hear what the vintage mode reverb sounds like at its longest decay. In the vintage mode, the M knob controls an adjustable low pass filter or high roll off. It's kind of confusing. Low pass means it lets the low frequencies pass. Calling it a high roll off is a little bit easier for my brain to understand. So what that M control does is adjust a high roll off. So at max, we're getting all the frequencies. And as we turn that M knob down, we're gonna shift that highest frequency down. So it's gonna start rolling off lower and lower frequencies to get a darker reverb. So again, this is the most lively sound. Now let's go ahead and hear how that high roll-off sounds when you decrease the M control. Now we've got my Squier Classic Vibe Precision Bass plugged into the same chain of effects, same amp. Here's a dry sound. Let's hear how the Traveler sounds on bass. Let's start in the shimmer mode. That sounds really cool. I want to hear more reverb, or I want the reverb to be longer, so I want to max out the feedback control. Let's hear how that sounds. Max shimmer. Now we're in the vintage mode. I've set up a sound where we have a pretty short reverb with some of the highs rolled off, but not all of them, and it's a pretty high mix. So let's hear how that sounds. And now we're in the mod mode, and what I've set up in this mode is a longer reverb with a significantly high amount of modulation and a lot of mix. So we're not getting completely only wet signal, but we're not getting that much dry signal. And this is one of my favorite settings on the pedal, is, you know, turning the mix up in the mod mode, just because it creates something kind of like magical to my ears. So let's hear how this setting sounds. I hope you enjoyed this look at the Traveler Reverb from Matthews Effects. If you did, please consider subscribing, and also if you like gear demos like this, I've got a ton in the backlog, so check the channel for a whole bunch more. Also, I'm going to leave a link to the Matthews Effects website in the description below, along with affiliate links, so if you want to purchase the Traveler, or really any piece of gear, I have affiliate links to Sweetwater, Reverb, and Amazon in the description below. What it does is it saves you time by taking you straight to the website. It lets them know that I sent you. It doesn't cost anything extra on your end. Anything you buy with those links, again, it doesn't cost you anything extra, but it does give me a little commission, and it's a great way to help support the channel. Also, I want to send a huge thank you to the folks over on Patreon who support me. I'll have a link in the description. I really appreciate all of your support over on Patreon. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you're doing well out there. I hope you're staying safe, and I hope you're taking care of yourself. I'll see you in the next video.